Hello everybody and welcome to the Adventures of Drawing. I'll draw a scene for you using a variety of pencils, a blending stump and an eraser. So without further ado, let's go right into this. Okay, I'm just indicating the horizon line here, just for me as an orientation. It's not going to be seen later, I just want to know where it is, feels safer like this, having it in here. Okay, now I'm sketching the shape of a mountain right here in the distance. Nice and large one. Maybe like this. Okay. Coming down from each peak, we need another line. Maybe this one right here goes down like that. What the heck? Okay, and then one right here joins the other one. And I kind of want another separation right here. Okay, we've got another peak right there. Maybe it goes down like this. Okay. Let's give the entire mountain a value with the HB pencil. Gonna give it a sort of light value right here. Like this. Starting over here. Going towards the middle. The longer the lines get, the more I've got space in between them. It's harder to set each line next to the other, but we'll see. We are going to manage to just give this entire mountain a light value right here. And yeah, there we go, just like that. It's done. Okay. Next thing we got is to take the 3B pencil and go into the shadow areas. Let's say the light comes from the top left side, so on the right side of this mountain, we've got a shadow side. Maybe let me go across like this. Just like that, right here. Okay, now going into the edges to the left and right, since there's always something missing when you crosshatch. Of course, some people are way more precise than I am with their crosshatching technique, and they can leave less space to the left and right, but they too are going to have some space like this right here, where you can see the zigs and the zags. Okay, right here we're going to leave a light area for a little bit of this mountain to poke out. Okay, and going down here like this. All right, next thing right here, there's another shadow area right here. How am I going about this? I think just like that. Horizontally again. Going in like so. And right there. Like this. Like that. And that's a way smaller area. So of course I pushed down harder, so it's darker than this one. And you want to aim for getting the values of in the shadows about equal, but it's okay. You can make the other one darker afterwards. Let me go in here again. Or maybe you can also have differences in inclination, and therefore maybe this part is more in the shadow than that one, so it would be darker anyways. But since this right here is the very right of the mountain, I think at least this right edge of it would be the darkest part of the entire mountain right here. So let me go in here once more and get this right edge darker. Right there, up here, and to the very right. Maybe going across like that to the left side, creating a transition. Maybe like so. And let's get this left side a little darker as well to create more of a separation of the shadow and the light side. Maybe I just go along here once with a little bit more pressure, like so. And then in here into the shape a little bit like this. Okay. Right, now let's take the HB pencil and go in right here. Create some surfaces just by cross-hatching a couple of areas that have a different inclination to the sunlight, so they are darker. Maybe right here, this one. Change the angle of your hatches and make sure not to just cross-hatch certain spots, but sometimes the darker area is larger than the lighter area, so you have to cross-hatch the most part of an area and leave less than 50% of that area lighter. Because if you always just cross-hatch a small area of a certain section, yes, you do get areas that are a little darker, have a different inclination towards the sunlight, but it's going to look spotty, for lack of a better word. Okay, so now we've done this in the light area, and let's go and do the same thing for the dark area. Maybe right here there's a dark area and there's another one, and maybe just down here just a little bit in this smaller area, and now we can really go wild in this larger area. So I've got this area right here from before where I already indicated a darker area. I want this to be really dark, since it's almost hanging. This area is almost, I don't know what the word is. It's more than vertical. It doesn't go up. It's not vertical. It slopes facing downwards. I don't know. I hope you understand what I mean. It's one of those areas where a climber would just hang from the roof. It's like, yeah, a type of roof on the mountain. You probably know what I mean. Okay, let's go in here. Have another darker area right there. And then maybe this area right here, this triangle right there, is the brightest area on this mountain, so everything else would be darker. So we go in right here and make this entire area a little bit darker, like this, and then down here, this area would be darker as well. And that's what I meant before. This triangle in the middle is the smaller part of this mountain, or this right face of the mountain, and I'm making the larger part of this face darker, like so. Okay, now we've got the large details. Let's get some minor details in there still. Maybe another area right here, maybe one right there. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's leave it at that and go into the real detail now. Some cracks in the face of the mountain. Mostly they come down from the ridge that you see right here, so I mostly start them from up there. But there's another change in the layers, so that right here I imagine cracks do come down as well and maybe go up also. Okay. You know what? I think this entire area right here is rather vertical, everything below this line, so it's not facing up or left like many of the other areas right here, so it would be a little bit darker than the rest right there. And then this right here will have the same value roundabout, maybe like this. So yeah, that looks a little better to me. All right, let's make those a little darker now, since they almost disappeared in my new layer. Right there, okay. Just some random stuff. Always looks the best when you don't really think about it. Just go in there with some nice and sharp lines. You have to have some courage for those. You have to really press down and take whatever comes. Right there. And make really abrupt changes in direction. Don't make those lines round. Make them sharp. Maybe something like this right here. Okay. Maybe a little bit more in there. There's a relatively untouched area. Okay. There we go. That's the light area done, and now we just do the same thing for the shadow area, and let's get the 7B pencil out for that one. Let's go really dark. We need some contrast between the dark shadows and the even darker detail right here. That's looking good to me. Okay, same thing. Just all sorts of cracks coming down from this ridge up here. Maybe put in just some dots for another type of texture. Right there. In here. Down there. Just some cracks. Okay. I think that's that for this mountain, so let's go in with the blending stump and extend it down just a little bit and soften up the base right here. Okay. Now I want a couple of trees down there at the base of this mountain. There's going to be a water line right here, and then we're going to have some trees right there, maybe just indicating the treetops. Need some larger up here. To cover this area. Didn't want there to be anything back here to the very left and very right, so I just cover it up with trees. Okay. Now let's put some lower areas in there, lower outlines of the trees. Down here and down there. Next step, I guess, would be to erase the value of the mountain so we can have some highlights stick out in those trees. We need some highlights. So the most important areas, of course, are the treetops that are going to be the brightest. So let me make sure to erase that mountain behind those trees. And right here as well. Okay, that's enough. It's not completely erased, but it doesn't have to be. Most of it is going to be covered up anyway. But it just has to be brighter than the mountain. Okay, let me go in again and draw those outlines like this right here. Okay, got some right there. Let me get some more in here, and now down there we get some volumes that go sideways, like this. Just some tree volumes in here. Maybe like so. Okay. Now let me go in and softly crosshatch the entire area, just so that it's not completely bright. Maybe just very gently go across the entire area. Very quickly. Doesn't have to be even or anything. Okay, now to the darker areas, or more like this is going to be the mid values of the trees. So I'm going in again, cross-hatching the entire area, just leaving out the areas below the very treetops, so that the treetops stick out as the brightest areas in those trees. Right there. All the way to the right. Right here. Okay. Hey there, hello in the ranks of the viewers. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you like what you see. Okay. Now, of course, we have to go darker for the shadows. And up here, I just make another type of mid value, go in a little bit darker. And I think that's what I then have to do down here as well. Just a mid value down here, a darker mid tone. Down there. And also in here. Maybe back there a little bit, like this, like that, and right here. Okay, now the very front of the trees has got this dark shadow side down here. Just going in with a 3B pencil and cross-hatching the lower edge of the trees. Like this. Okay. Now let me get rid of a little bit of the line structure that I made right here and go along the very lowest edge, or maybe inside of the mid values as well. I want to break this cross-hatching structure up a little bit to make this all look more organic. Not sure if that did the trick, but yeah. I think if I give those trees some outlines, I make this whole area right here at the base of the mountain look more tree-like. It's gonna look like we've got a real nice forest going on down here. Down there, over here. Some more volumes going inside. Let's get some more going on in here. Okay, and for the upper part right here, I'm using the HB pencil again to do the same thing. Just make the outlines a little clearer and go in with some more detail in there, some more volumes and shapes that I'm going to indicate. Almost done right here. But I think I'll have to go in once more with the 3B pencil in the dark mid values and add some more details there. But I would say this does rather look like some trees are standing right there. Okay, going in here with some more lines, just a couple more of those outlines right here inside of the volumes. Just for some more detail. In here, down there. Make those volumes not look too boring. There, okay. Now, let's give those trees some trunks. And I do that by just going up and down right here below the foliage. I'm leaving some gaps for the highlights on the trunks. But mostly it's dark down there. right here, going all the way over to the right. Okay. I think it should be dark down there, so I'm not going to leave any completely light areas. So I'm just going through with the HB pencil to dull down those highlights a little bit. Like this. And then we give it all the ground to stand on just by giving horizontal zigzag lines down here at the very edge of the forest, going inside just a little bit, connecting those lower parts of the tree trunks with the ground. Okay, this at the same time creates a waterline for the lake that I want going on down here in this midsection of the scene. Let's maybe have something poking in right here and right here as well, like so, just for that little bit of extra detail. Okay, now let's go into the water right here. So I'm going to just, with the HB pencil, make horizontal lines all the way starting from the back, and right here I'm going to leave a little gap in the middle for the reflection of the sunlight. Okay, the reflection ends down here, so this is where I'm going to start to just make horizontal lines again. Going in right there, like so. And from the left side, trying to make those lines as horizontal as possible. Okay, I'm going to highlight this line right here. Maybe it goes in this far. We're going to have another layer right there later, but for now we have to concern ourselves with the water. Okay, got some nice lines right here. Now let's make some of those areas of the water darker than others. There are going to be areas where the surface of the water is a little bit different than in other areas. There are different types of reflections and different winds blowing across the surface. So some areas of this water are smooth and others are really rough. Okay, real dark area right here, maybe like so. And let's extend this down to the edge right here. Like this. Okay. Maybe go in right here a little bit. Have a small darker area right there. Like so. Okay. Now let's have some detail in the water. Maybe in this distance start to see a couple of waves. And for this I'm just taking the very tip of the pencil and making completely flat horizontal lines. Yeah, maybe we're not seeing any of those right there on the left side. Just right here on the right. Like this. And they're going in to the reflection right here. Okay, in this distance you start to see the shape of the waves. So I'm taking the 3B pencil and I'm giving those lines some dynamic. Right here, like this. Maybe make them a little bit closer. Now I think this does look like some waves. One right in there, a little bit separate. And maybe this area goes all the way down out of the frame. Right here. Down there. All the way. Okay. And let's have a little bit of those waves on the left side right here as well. Going into the reflection right there. Something like this, and let me extend the area a little bit down here, like so, down there, maybe like this, right here. Okay, let's get some more very small area areas in here, like this. And that's the water done. Let me get out my piece of paper for protection of the drawing. And now let's go in here. So the land goes right there. And let's have this area go away. Let's go in and first create the shape of this area. It's going to be darker down here and lighter up there. And since we're in the midground, I'm going in with the 3D pencil as well. Down there. And also I'm creating a waterline in here, right at the edge. Like so. Okay, and then going in to this area with the values going up right here, and then just a couple of zigzags, a little bit of detail in there. Okay, let's have 1 or 2 evergreens right here. Maybe there's one growing right here. Let's do this one first and then later see where the others might go. Right here. Maybe like this. I put in a couple more branches than I normally do. Maybe like this, I don't have to correct myself later and put in more of those branches. Maybe this is enough for the tree to look nice and full in the end. Right here and in there. This one right here and right there. Get my piece of paper. What do I have it for? If not to use it. Maybe there needs to be a little bit more right there. Something in here, this one in there, another one right here, this one right there, and then we've got the tree trunk right here, and then going to the other side like this. Here, like that, and down there. Maybe like so. Okay, let's just have another one. Maybe standing right there. Okay. Have those branches go out like this. And then the ones inside going back or towards us. Like this, maybe like so. Okay. Going in right here and right there. And over here and right there. Right there. Almost done now. Okay, now the tree trunk right here. And just something for the trees to stand on, like this. Alright. I think that's it for those trees, but I want one more detail, and that's going to be some branches coming down over here from a tree that stands maybe right here. And so I'm just going to draw a couple of branches trying to stick to the same pattern, maybe a little bit wiggly like this, going back and forth like so. This one goes up like that, something like this, combining this and that, and it becomes a bit. Okay, right here, and of course we've got a lot more branches coming in maybe like so, right there. Okay, let's make a couple of those a little thicker than the others for some variety. Okay, right here. This one could be a bigger one as well. And maybe that one right here. Okay. Let's have a couple more bifurcations. But let's take the HB pencil for that to make those a little bit lighter, to create the impression that they are very thin branches. Just a couple of those. Okay. And I want some leaves to grow here. Maybe it's autumn. Maybe most of the leaves, well, I don't think most of the leaves have fallen since those trees back there. I've got all of them left. But I don't know. So, okay, I'm going to put in a couple more leaves here. I wanted something different right here in the foreground. But okay, maybe I should have just drawn less branches. So I want all those leaves right here. And for this area, make sure not to always just draw leaf shapes like this, because some leaves are seen from the side and then they're just a thin line like that. In fact, most leaves are not seen completely from the front. So there's something in between a line and the classic leaf shape, front view leaf shape. So in order to simulate that, I'll just make a couple of lines in here. And since I'm using the 3B pencil, they're already a little bit wider. So it looks like we're looking at the leaf from an angle. But then I'm making the lines a little bit thicker and some a little thinner. So it looks like we're looking at the leaves from different angles. Okay. And like this, we've got another detail in the foreground, adding another layer to our scene to create the illusion of a lot of depth in this scene. From this tree right here, poking in on the right, that is maybe just a little bit in front of us, to those trees, to the trees right here, back to the mountain. Okay, and there we go. There's our scene for today. So let me clean up the edges. right here and over here. Mm, maybe right there. Okay. Like this. All right. So there you have it. Our scene for today. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you like what you see. Hope you got something out of it. Maybe the inspiration or motivation to be creative yourself, or you're using the stream or VOD as ASMR to get some other stuff done. Maybe you're playing video games, just some leisure time. Why not? We need some rest from the stress of everyday life. If you find yourself coming back to the channel, please consider subscribing, giving the video a like, and dropping down in the comments to tell me what you think about what I'm doing here. Now, with all this said, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.